Good morning and welcome to RVN TV's Entrepreneur State of Mind. I'm Krista Smolder and I'm here with my awesome guest who is very much like me. Maybe that's why I think you're so awesome. So her name is Deb Colitas and she is the CEO and owner of Digital Network Superstar.
You got it.
You've owned a lot of businesses though,
Yes.
and we're going to talk about that. So you're actually unlike a lot of my guests. A lot of my guests have been, you know, they went to college and they came from a family of let's get jobs and let's get pensions and things like that. But you have a kind of a different story. And I want you to share, you know, all the way from childhood to what got you to be the digital network superstar.
Absolutely. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial household here in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. My grandfather and another partner had M&E Marine Supply, Marvell Underwater Equipment, Henderson Wetsuits, my great uncle, Edmund Optics. So by the age of 8, you know, I could definitely balance a checkbook, but also clean bathrooms very well. Every family gathering was like a shareholders meeting. Same people were hired and fired, and we just went along with it.
That's awesome. So did you go to college?
Yes. So graduated Morristown Friends and then went up to Muhlenberg College. And that time, everything was beginning to change because the internet was just beginning to blossom. We can remember dial-up, Prodigy, CompuServe, all those fun things. If you wanted to play Warcraft in college, you have to put the Ethernet cord down the hall 100 yards.
Yes.
But I saw there was an effect happening, and so I did a communications degree with elementary ed certification because I love the idea of media literacy. How do we, and specifically even in the childhood development, take in these images, deal with them, and it's become such a hot topic now.
Absolutely. So you kind of forecasted that?
I saw things different coming, and as I then was a teacher, but then married an entrepreneur, quickly upon having our daughter 15 years ago, jumped into the lawn service and lawn care business that he had together, and then things began steamrolling since then. So when my husband and I sat down one day and we listed all of the businesses we've ever been a part of or started ourselves, we're up to 17 businesses.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell me about some of the ones that didn't work, right? The failures.
2008 just was a blow off for so many people. And when we were in the landscaping industry at that time, my husband and I looked at each other going, oh, crap, what are we going to do? We have 2 kids under the age of 4. And that's where in 2008, we paired up with a local farm that had a huge pumpkin following. And we're 11 years in now providing a corn maze every year. So when a landscaper and an educator marry and become their entrepreneur self again, you get a corn maze.
How do you create a corn maze? We have a picture of the aerial view of one of the corn mazes, and you've been doing this for 11 years.
11 years.
So he goes in there with and he creates this design.
Yes, so it starts as a design process somewhere in May, early June. We're then cutting early July when the corn's only this high. It's a lot easier to do so. And then we're open the last Saturday of September, and then through October at Seipel Farms in Bath, PA. And it's all GPS. It's technology. It's beautiful how we do it.
That's awesome. So you're going in, you're creating the maze, and then you're done, and then you're revenue sharing on that.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, so then you have other businesses.
Yes, so that was 2008. And so as we went along with that and figuring out, all right, what's next, we said, well, everybody eats, so let's do something different. My husband's 100% Greek, so we came up with the gyro company concept. Greek food, gyros, spanakopita, baklava, all that good stuff. We opened up a brick and mortar, but then also we opened up at the local AAA ballpark, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and that's what you see in my family. Because
is that a truck or is that
No, it's a stand. You can see our kiddos there who are now 15 and 13. You turn them into employees, because what else do you do as an entrepreneur? And at that time, the brick and mortar store did not survive. And that was a catastrophic moment again. We had just survived 2008. We were coming out of things, and it just, everything doesn't always work according to plan. But it is your resiliency and having your priorities straight. You know, in our house, it's faith, family, and everything else. And from there, you're able to recognize, all right, this is how money works. This is how delivering products and services work. Let's do it again. So 3 years ago, we have a piece of land, 10 acres, that we had used for the landscaping company and kind of had been dormant. And that's where we're like, well, strawberries and pick your own strawberries are very, very popular. And my husband and my father-in-law, when he was growing up, were involved in that. So 3 years now, we now have the first ever Lehigh Valley Strawberry Festival. And what began happening this past year is people started coming to me around strawberry season saying, Deb, how are you doing all this? Because they saw us online. We're very Facebook and LinkedIn heavy, Twitter and Instagram as well. We're building on how we're promoting ourselves locally, and it's really beginning to explode. And so all of a sudden by mid-June, I had 3 clients, and I was like, oh, well, I guess this is my next vision and purpose.
Right.
So Digital Network Superstars was born.
Okay, so tell me what exactly is, because is that your primary focus right now?
So my primary focus is absolutely this.
Okay.
My husband's primary are the other 3. I step in with the marketing and oversight and helping out where I can. But it's the whole idea that we're at a paradigm shift of where we're at. It used to be easy in the early 2000s and before. You'd buy a Yellow Book ad, you'd buy some radio time, a billboard if you were fancy enough, and boom, your advertising was done for the year.
Right.
But now messaging is not about putting out what you feel people should see. It's about connecting with your audience and building authenticity. And that's what we've done, and that's now what I do with my clients, whether they're small business owners or medium to large size businesses. It's how can we build brand ambassadors from your following and an audience that you can activate into customers and a relationship that will last a long time.
Right, okay, so that's what Digital Network Superstars is. When did you start that?
That was birthed pretty much at the end of May and June this year.
Oh, wow.
I had been
It's that new.
percolating. It's that new. I had been percolating it for quite some time, and just the testing ground was our own businesses.
Right.
So I have, the list here again of our catastrophic failures and our phenomenal successes, and you learn each and every time. But what's great now with digital marketing is there's something called social proof. You can spend just a little bit of money or tweak your message and look at your audience in a different way, try a few posts, and you see if it works. And if it does, great, you build on it. If not, you go a different direction. And so many people are still very held back or afraid to just put something out there because content is key to be able to connect with your audience.
Right, what are people going to think? Right, I know that's a big obstacle for a lot
So,
of people.
I don't like to be on camera, or I don't like to talk about myself. Well, it's about what value you are curating for them to latch on to want to be a part of your audience.
How did you learn? Okay, so you have these businesses and they're doing okay or they're doing well, but you were able to take some of your techniques, right, and apply them and see a lift, which made you realize that you could do this for other people, not just your own businesses, and it could be another business. But how did you learn how to do all that stuff?
It was a reflective moment, earlier this year where someone was asking me, well, when did you start? When was your first business? And I was reflecting upon after college. And I went, you know what? Wait a minute. It was when I was about 13 years old and I found this magical thing called the church bulletin board where I put up an announcement that I'd babysit your kids, and amazing people would call me. And it was the first moment of finding the right audience for the right message and the right place and the right purpose where you can gain a reaction. And that's what followed me along, being in the communications major, loving to be an educator and really not just shoving a message down someone's throat, but actually being able to provide value in what you have. And that's where we tell a story through our social media. During strawberry season, we love it. We're posting like crazy 2-3 times a day about our family, about, oh my gosh, it rained too much. Oh my goodness, you need to get out here and get a strawberry and a milkshake and everything else that goes with it. And you learn how to balance that together to have a live discussion and to be responsive. The worst thing you can ever do is say, yep, I got a Facebook page, and you put it out there. Okay, and then you post a couple of times, but if you're not engaging your audience, then you're going to lose attention very quickly.
And not being responsive. That was a good one, because you get asked a question and then it's like, how really into this page are these people, right? If they're not even engaging. Engagement. That's huge, right?
Content creation.
Did you learn about all that stuff, like algorithms and
It was
engagement?
a lot of trial and error of myself. Being able to be putting myself in positions where, all right, the next 2 hours I'm going to watch these other experts on YouTube and what they're doing. What do I like? What don't I like? What do I want to do the same? How can I bring this to my own? There is so much content out there that you can learn how to do this, but you do then need to trial it for yourself because every geographic area is different, audience is different, business is different. But when you step in full force and really devote yourself to your audience, amazing things begin happening.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to get a little bit more into Digital Network Superstar and exactly what you do for your clients on a day-to-day basis. All right?
Wonderful.
All right, we'll be right back.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away. 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no obligation Medicare benefits consultation. 856-226-4800.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.
Improve our workflow.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended Fleet Graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling in. Get started at fastsigns.com.
Welcome back to Entrepreneur State of Mind. I'm Krista Smolder with Deb Colitas, and she is the CEO and founder of Digital Network Superstar amongst corn mazes, strawberries, and gyros.
Go figure.
Is it gyros or is it gyros?
Gyro, but we serve it anyway.
Say that? How
Because
does
we're
it-
in some gyro.
Oh, okay, gyro.
Yeah.
Does your husband say it like that?
Again, however you say it, we'll serve it. So
Okay, okay, yeah, like, we don't care if you say it right, yeah. You need to pay for it, though.
That's right, that's right.
Okay, so Digital Network Superstar, we talked about it. So if I'm a small business and I hire you, right? I know it varies, but in general, what does that process look like from the time I decide to commit to doing business with you?
You know, we talk about with my clients about how do you present yourself. We spend all this time on our clothes, our hair, our makeup, how we present ourselves physically, but then we let the back end of how we look online go completely sometimes. We can all Google each other. We all have our own personal brand, whether we like it or not. It's said that our decisions are influenced up to 66% by online content at this time. And that includes how we are influenced on what we think of each other. Because before today, I looked you up on LinkedIn. I wanted to see what content was about you. So I had this whole image of who you were before even meeting you. And if that's not in line with your business and your business goals, that can be catastrophic for potential opportunities that you're missing out on. So we really dig into, all right, what have you done? What do you have in realms of when we Google you, what comes up?
Yeah.
Because you have to be aware of what's on page 1, 2, and 3, because as much content that you can control, that's what we want to focus on, because there are some things that you're just not going to be able to get off that Google search. So we want to bolster and be able to set you up for success and always possible, so that everything that comes back about you is just speaking glories of what you can do for others.
Right. Okay, so first you're going to kind of organize the brand?
It is definitely an assessment of your digital and social media presence. And seeing what kind of makeover or new kind of headshot we can give you for the way that you look to others online.
So you'll come and you'll be brutally honest with me, and you'll
Brutally.
say, Krista, that picture, it's got to go, and you'll give me the reason why.
Yes, we go over things like that. We also then talk about your wording and your language. So often, especially on LinkedIn, a common mistake for small business owners is they speak as if they're trying to get another job in the corporate world. You have the flexibility and the creativity to build a profile that just exudes your excitement for your next client or your next customer, that really speaks to them in a way that encourages an authentic relationship. Because then the next step, after we do get everything straightened out with what's looking online, we talk about how to use online interactions and opportunities and turn them into real life clients and customers and relationships.
Yeah, because
that's what
the
the
first
real
part
is.
you might get that done, but then you're never going to close any sales if you don't know step 2, 3, 4, and 5 after
You
that.
have to know both.
So you help with that as well.
Absolutely.
Do you have certain do you have certain packages or?
So I work on a 12-week basis with individuals to get started, because I always want, as a business owner myself, for my clients to feel totally confident about the value that I'm providing to them. And then during that time, those first 3 to 4 weeks are very structured in what we're doing online and how things are going. But then my job and role is to be there for them. If they really want to get a press release out, that's what we're going to work on. If they want to launch a new part of their business and really attract the audience to their new product or their services, we're going to work on, all right, how do we combine that in with what you have existing, and who do we need to go after? The biggest mistake anyone can make is be totally overwhelmed by social media. You only need to be where your client is at. There are countless places where Snapchat is probably maybe not where you need to be, but maybe your clients are on Instagram. Maybe Instagram's not it, but you need to be on LinkedIn or Twitter. But you got to start simple, know what you can handle, break it apart to workable pieces so you can fit it into your week. Because again, it's awful to start something and not follow up because then it just looks empty when someone comes about.
Yeah, and I would say 12 weeks is the minimal amount of time for you to really see a change. People are very, just like people are unrealistic about when they're going to turn a profit in their business.
Correct.
Year number one, probably not going to happen. But same thing for building that brand and story on social media, right?
Very much so, because everything's evolving. And unfortunately, in dealing with social media, there's so much that we can control. But the other half is, I don't know, some CEO in Silicon Valley sneezes and everything changes again. So we have to be up and up on things enough so that we can be predictive, but yet also know that we have that base and that audience to activate, and they'll come along with us.
Yeah. How many people do you run into that actually don't have a good idea of who they want to attract? Is it a lot?
We seem to be in this shift right now of anyone between the ages of, I would say, 35 and 40. If they are below that age, they always have a remembrance of being at college or below with Wi-Fi, with wireless internet, a cell phone that has more than just the game Snake on it and whatever else. If it's older, then you remember the payphone and not having a Kindle at your disposal to download any book. And what that's created right now is we have then a generation that is relying not enough on social media, and then you have the flip side that is relying too much on social media.
Yes.
And it'll be interesting to see in the next 5 to 10 years how that really mellows out, because personal relationships is what it always comes back to that clinches a long-lasting relationship and a brand identity that you want to follow long-term. Right. We're still figuring it out, and it'll be interesting what happens. But I encourage my business owners, take the lead. Be there, go there with your clients, show them your authenticity and just how much you care, and that speaks volumes.
Right. So how important is, I know content, I think, is classified as copy as well as video, but can you talk about video content and how's that shifted or where that's gone?
Video is great because it gives you, just like we are here together, a moving sense of what is actually happening. All of the search engines right now boost video content higher than other copy. And the same with also the social media outlets. But not everyone is comfortable on video. So those who are able to grasp it, you do have an edge above others.
Yep. And can you just give me your perspective on, this is for me personally, length of time for the video? It's like I lose interest after 3 minutes. You got these 9 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yes.
What's the...
There seems to be key moments of, you either do it 30 seconds, a minute, 90 seconds, 2 minutes.
That's it.
And that's it, is you have got to keep that audience going. Now, if you're doing a live video, that's something different if you're trying to build your audience and do things.
Yes.
But know your audience, know that timing. But what's great is you can follow the metrics and everything behind the scenes to see how many people are watching, and it can really lead you in a good
But in order
direction.
to create a 30-second concise message, right, you really do have to have a person like you that helps you to understand.
Yes.
What do I want to say? Who am I saying it with? And how can I do it in 30 seconds, right?
Exactly.
So you help sort of with that.
I help with that.
Getting them clear on their message and their audience.
Well, if you think back to way back into our parents and things in the 50s and 60s, advertising was all about defining who you are. You're the housewife. You're the working husband. This is what was, sold to you, and it's, we think it's hysterical, very sad, but hysterical as we look at the, old ads of old. Then you launched into the 80s and 90s where it was about, be like Cindy Crawford with the Pepsi, be like, this person, be, like Mike. And now we're finally embracing, and it's because of the social media revolution, it's who can you identify with, who understands you, who supports you and your mission and your outlook, and that's where that value clinch as a brand and finding those brand ambassadors, it just means so much.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know who they are.
No.
I mean, that's a whole nother, I mean, that's
still figuring out what I want
counseling
to do when I
and therapy and all that stuff, but I mean, you're at least helping from the marketing, advertising, social media perspective, and maybe that other stuff probably comes out along the way, right?
It
When you're
does.
talking with these people, like, who are you really? Like, do you really like what you're doing?
That is correct.
I'm sure you
That
run
is
into
correct.
that.
Well, and that's what's fun about working with entrepreneurs, because usually they have stepped into this because of another event that's happened to them. They have
Yes.
decided to leave corporate. They have decided
Yes.
they have a passion. We at Digital Network Superstar, it's marrying that passion and purpose with the message that is understandable and can be said in that 30-second commercial or less,
Right.
so that people will connect with you.
What if after 12 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
I feel really good, but I still need Deb? So we can re-up and we can,
re-up, we can turn it into a different type of relationship of checking in and a once-a-month sit-down. I am there for the business and the entrepreneur to make sure that they have the support and resources and tools that they need for success.
why you? Why should someone work with you?
Oh goodness, because I've made a heck of a lot of mistakes along the way. You know, when we first started with the strawberries 3 years ago, I thought I just need to say as much as possible at all times, and it's like a verbally vomiting
Yes.
out there of what's going on, and that obviously didn't work very quick. And so, you know, scratch that, start over again.
Right.
We've had the catastrophic failures of, you know, just in 2014, we had $10.28 to our business bank account. We were like, woohoo! All right, let's dig in, start over, figure out what's happened. And there's a resiliency that has developed of understanding how business works, how cash flow works, but also how messaging really intertwines it all in the passion and purpose that we have behind us. And so that's what I love bringing to my clients.
You've done it, been there, done it, right?
Been there, done it, and we'll do it again.
So as an entrepreneur running 4 different businesses,
Yes.
what are some tips that you would have to someone that's considering starting a business or having multiple businesses?
Multiple businesses is fun. You have to have the support network around you. Make sure that your family, children, everybody is on board, but have those key advisors that you know that you can go to that is going to tell you the hard, honest truth, whether you like it or not. And that's part of my relationship that I have with some of my entrepreneurs and businesses, because they don't have that feedback at home. They have the support, but they don't have someone who's been through it themselves.
Right.
So find that support network. Make sure you have more funding than you think you need to get you through wherever you need to. But just go and do it. Don't focus so much on planning that you lose sight of the end, but then don't jump into the water without your swimmies if you know there's sharks there. So you got it to balance.
Good advice, good advice. All right, so we're going to end our session, and I want to make sure that people know how they can connect with you and find you and potentially do business with you. So can you let us know?
Absolutely. Yes, I would love to connect with you at any time. Please find me on LinkedIn, Deb Colitas, or go to my website, digitalnetworksuperstar.com. Please let me know how I can help you. I look forward to being in touch.
Thank you so much for joining my
Thank
show. And I'm so
you.
happy to have met you. And she
A
really is a
pleasure.
superstar. I mean,
Oh, goodness.
just you talking, I'm like, wow, you got it.
One day at a time.
Good stuff. All right, and make sure you stay tuned next week and see me at 11:30 on Tuesday for Entrepreneur State of Mind. And stay tuned because we're coming up with Everyday Elder Care with Casey Price.